How's it going, Outcasts and other rejects? It's Werewolf Sword, or Sword for short, here, and welcome to the WTC, the Anime Outcasts. First off, if you're new here, we upload anime what-ifs based around My Hero and other shows alike. Secondly, did you know 80% of our audience isn't subscribed? So if you want us to continue making good content, make sure to like and subscribe. And now, without further ado, let's get into the video. In a library, Izuku Midoriya is hunched over a desk with a small mountain of books next to him. He just couldn't shake that thought out of his head. Is transforming into mythological or extinct creatures possible? Normally all he'd have to do is know the animal exists, but these were different cases. He couldn't exactly see a dinosaur or something like a dragon in person, so books would have to be the next best thing. This is all so much. I should be perfecting what I know, but what if I am capable of such things? I can't not try. The animal shifter reluctantly grabbed the books he acquired and made his way to the forest. Thankfully, by the time he had gotten there, it was close to nighttime. If he had somehow succeeded with his goal, he wouldn't want to cause any panic. Okay, let's do this. Come on, you can do it, Izuku. I can feel it in my bones. This is hopeless. However, Izuku was unaware that during his attempt, small scales had formed on his body, as well as a small tail slowly forming. However, once he gave up, they disappeared quickly. Screw it. Back to business as usual. I only learned Gorilla last week. I need to practice it. He even had separate books for different species and types of animals. He had one for marine life, one for reptiles, birds, and even more at home. Okay, Gorilla, let's do it! Midoriya started beating his chest and proceeded to transform into a fully grown green gorilla. Once the transformation was complete, Midoriya attempted to test the limits of his gorilla form. He proceeded to lift multiple small boulders to see how strong he truly was. Then that was followed up by him testing out his abilities by climbing and maneuvering from tree to tree. After one final leap, Izuku began to transform back into his human form. After the transformation back to his regular form concluded, Izuku began looking through his notes on another animal he had been researching, the peregrine falcon. Okay, studies show that peregrine falcons can fly between 40 and 60 miles per hour, but it can reach over 200 when diving. I've turned into birds before, but none capable of going that fast. Let's see, my notes say that some of the unique features help with its speed. I have to remember these, otherwise I'll just be a regular bird. The green teen studied the diagram he had found and didn't dare take his eyes off until he knew it by heart. He examined every single part of its anatomy to a T. Everything from its keel, their pointed wings with stiff, unslotted feathers, and their much more ample red muscle fibers, as well as their stronger and more efficient hearts and lungs. There was no doubt Izuku knew what he needed to do. It was time to test it out for himself. Okay, Izuku, take a deep breath and just transform. In an instant, Izuku's body had shrunk and transformed into an exact copy of the bird he was thinking of. That is, if you can ignore him being green. Oh god, I did it! I did it! Now to test this out! The green bird had climbed onto a rock, spreading its wings and flew. It didn't take long for Izuku to realize just how fast this transformation was. Woohoo! Haha! Look at me go! Izuku was moving faster than he had ever done before. Soaring through the air at such speed made Izuku feel so free and full of more life than ever. It was almost too fast for him to handle. Eventually, he decided to push himself to the max. He flew higher than any trees could ever grow to and began to dive. Without any hesitation whatsoever, once he was nearing the ground, he lifted himself up and was moving at what he imagined were impossible speeds. Unfortunately, due to the fact that he wasn't used to that kind of speed, he crashed into one of many trees. The boy returned to his normal form, with his head pounding. Oh, It really hurt. Ow, ow, ow. At least I was able to transform. Ow. The boy wandered back to his bag and discarded clothes, but was unfortunately too delirious to go home on his own. Sorry, Mom. Hello? Hi, Mom. I had an accident while training. Can you meet me at the station? Izuku, where are you? I'm in the forest. Hit my head pretty hard. It really hurts. Well, lucky for you, my company car arrived today. I'll meet you at the entrance. Izuku, please be careful from now on. An hour had passed before the boy had been picked up by his mother, and the moment he got into the car, his mother hadn't left him alone. Let me see. Aww. The worried mother began examining her son's head for any cuts, but thankfully it was only a bruise. She had always been protective of her son, especially since his father's passed away. On the way home, Izuku began to examine the new car. It was impressive, but something caught his eye in the back seat. Hey, Mom, what's in that box? No sense hiding it now. Open it up. It used to be your father's. I was looking through his things, and I found that old thing. I always thought it was ugly, but I thought you'd like it. There was a brief silence, followed by a tearful Ingo. It's been 10 years. It feels like yesterday. I still think he's gonna walk through the front door, but it's okay, Mom. I miss him too. The family made it home, and Izuku went to his room to examine the jacket. He tried it on, and something about the jacket made him feel more confident. I think I might have found my new look. The teen pulled out one of his many notebooks that contained a badly drawn sketch of what he wanted for a hero costume. They were all things Izuku could get with his own money and everything, so he figured why not. He was originally against a costume because all his clothes tore when he transformed into larger animals. There has to be some way I can make it transform with me, or at least stretch the point where it stays on. Ryuku's costume changes with her, and Fat Gum has to be both durable and stretchy to change size. It's a long shot, but maybe I can find out what their costumes are made of. That way I can at least know what type of materials I need. The boy looked at his clock and realized it was getting late. Just because some of the animals he could transform into were nocturnal doesn't mean he was. He'd have to look more into that in the morning. The following day went slow for the shifter. Not having a job meant he had nothing to do. He did give me an early allowance. I could always get some more clothes for training. The boy headed to the train station and got on the first train to Asua City. There was a store there that sold more durable clothes. On top of that, many food stands. Oh man, I can already smell those tofu burgers! The boy began to move faster and faster towards the stall that served them, but was interrupted when he accidentally bumped into someone. Oh geez, I'm so sorry, mister. I should have looked where I was going. I'm sorry. The boy's apology was interrupted when he saw a large, yellow hoodie-wearing figure standing in front of him, with a hand stretched out. It's fine. You're all good, kid. So, are you just gonna sit there on the ground, or are you gonna grab my hand? The flabbergasted teen accepted the help and immediately started fanboying. You're Fat Gum! Can I get your autograph? Sure thing. Always happy to meet a fan. While signing the boy's book, the hero made an offer that surprised Izuku. Heard you mumbling about those tofu burgers. Here, it's on me. After all, I was blocking the street. Fat Gum, sir? Can I ask you a question? Shoot. Your costume, what's it made of? Well, that's a new one. Why do you ask? I really want to be a hero. My quirk allows me to transform into different animals, but when I turn into large ones, my clothes rip, and when I turn into smaller ones, they just fall off of me. I was wondering if you knew what materials I should make my costume out of. Come with me. The two sit down at a cafe and begin discussing Izuku's dilemma. So what you're saying is you need a costume that can actually be used with your quirk. It needs to be able to stay attached to you in some way when you use it. You know, I think Night Eye's pupil had a similar problem. His costume is made out of his own hair because it's technically part of his body. If I were you, I'd maybe try that out. Turn into an animal with fur or one that sheds its skin and use those to make it. That's perfect! Technically they're still part of me, so it makes sense. What school are you applying for? The hero asked with his mouth full. UA High. It's always been my dream school. I've been practicing like crazy to get ready for the exam. I've been looking for more and more animals to turn into. The hero seemingly swallows his food in one large gulp and says something that surprised the young wannabe hero. Anyone told you that you're pretty scrawny? You need some meat on you. I don't eat meat. It's a joke, kid. Listen, how about I make you an offer? Let me take you under my wing, help you get stronger and improve with your quirk. Because I'm gonna be honest, I see potential. You remind me of one of my sidekicks. He has a lot of potential as well, except he's got a little bit of a shyness problem holding him back. What do you say? Are you kidding? Yes! The hero began to write on a business card. I'd figured you'd say that. Meet me at my agency tomorrow. Looking forward to training with you, Mr. The large hero gestured for the boy to tell him his name. Izuku Midoriya, sir! Well, Izuku Midoriya, you can call me Fat Gum Sensei. He hands a business card which had contained a and a time written in Sharpie. Once the coast was clear, Midoriya began to fanboy out again. I'm gonna be trained by a hero! An actual hero! This is the best day of my life! The rest of the day went by, and the whole time he was just counting down the seconds for his training to begin. Before he knew it, it was very early in the morning. Izuku Midoriya made his way to his new mentor's agency, carrying a large duffel bag, only to be stopped before going in. He looked behind him to see a skinny yet muscular blonde man wearing a trench coat, hat, and sunglasses. Can I help you, mister? The stranger whispered and lifted up his glasses. Yeah, it's me, Fat Gum. Come on, I'll show you where you'll be training. I thought we'd be training at your agency. No can do, kiddo. I want to keep you a secret for a little while. Oh man, I can't wait to see everyone's face when they see I took on a new apprentice. They're gonna be like, oh man, look at this kid. And wow, Fat Gum outdid himself. You see, my newest sidekick, he had already learned a few things before coming to me. Whereas you are a blank slate, I can mold you into the coolest hero. After the hero finished explaining, the two arrived at a building that looked almost run down. And voila, our personal training spot. Is this really the place? It looks kind of old and abandoned and decrepit. Wait until you get inside. Fat Gum lifted the garage door to reveal what looks like a completely brand new gym. I sometimes come here to blow off steam, but as for now, it's your new home. Well, not really, technically, because that would mean I kidnapped you and, well, you get the idea. Plop your bag on the ground and let's get started. The shifter did as he was told, and inside his duffel bag was revealed to mostly contain old clothes that looked a few sizes bigger than what Midoriya would normally wear. I know it seems like a lot, but I don't want to tear my good clothes. The boy looked at his mentor and discovered he had completely regained his original weight, after eating a large amount of food in only a few seconds. Now then, you said you can transform into animals, right? Well, transform and give me everything you've got. Are you sure? I don't want to break your stuff. Stuff, schmuff. Now come on, I need to see what you can do. Okay, can you turn around? I kinda need to, you know? With hesitation, the BMI hero turned around. Oh, no, yeah, go ahead. I do not want to see that, he said, chuckling.
After stripping, the green team did what he did best and transformed into the animal he knew was currently the strongest in his arsenal. Falcon turned around and, to his surprise, a green rhino had replaced his student. This left a huge smile on his face. "Okay, kid, come at me!" Without hesitation, Midoriya charged towards the pro hero without holding anything back. This felt great. Normally he'd have to hold back, but when training with someone like Fat Gum, he could let loose. It was relieving, as if he'd been let out of a cage. His feeling of relief was cut short when the large hero stopped Midoriya in his tracks, with hardly any struggle. "Is that really all you've got?" The hero taunted his pupil, wanting him to completely let go of his mental restraints. The rhino before him began to change shape again, only this time into something smaller, a praying mantis. "Now what are you gonna do with?" Midoriya leapt onto his mentor's arm and began pinching multiple parts of his body. "Ah, come on, that's not fair! That tickles!" With ease, Midoriya transformed again, this time into his peregrine falcon form. He flew up high into the air and began to nosedive at his opponent. However, just a few seconds before making contact, he transformed one more time, this time into a bull, with his horns directly aimed at his teacher. Although this didn't end how Midoriya expected it to, Fat Gum had simply grabbed him by the horns and set him down. "Wow, now that's some quirk. Alright, turn back and I'll give you some feedback." The green bull went behind some equipment to return to his normal form, only to be surprised to get a face full of paper when he went to see his teacher. "This contains everything you'll need. A diet to build muscle. Don't worry, it's all vegetarian. I also thought of what you need to improve on. For example, your first instinct was to charge directly towards me. That's useful for smaller, weaker opponents, but what happens when you encounter someone who's bigger, stronger, or even faster? I'll tell you, you'll be giving them an opportunity whilst letting your guard down. Although, I won't lie, I was not expecting a mantis or a full-grown bull to come crashing into me from above. I also think you need to think of ways to not only fight without your quirk, but to incorporate it into your regular form. Like when you turn into that bird, and then into a bull before impact. Something like that, but with your regular form." His pupil stared at him in shock. He wasn't sure how on earth he'd be able to do all that within 10 months. "There's, one more thing." The boy began to walk his mentor through his theory on turning into other creatures, like ones that were extinct, or even ones from mythology. "I tried it once before, but nothing. I felt something in me when I tried, but I couldn't transform." "I won't lie, I think it might be possible. I mean, mythical creatures might be a stretch, but dinosaurs and creatures that went extinct make sense. Especially since they did exist at some point. What exactly did you try to turn into?" The boy was embarrassed when he was asked this. Tyrannosaurus Rex." "Focus on that. Forget other extinct creatures or those mythical ones. The myths are probably a waste of time anyway. You have the T-Rex in your head. Don't let anything get in the way of it or cloud your mind. Not even any other dinos. Just focus on the T-Rex. You keep it up and you might actually achieve your goal." "Yes, Fat Gum Sensei!" The two of them spent the rest of the day honing Izuku's abilities. Everything from what he could transform into, how fast he could transform, and even the different ways to use them that didn't involve violence. "Alright, I'd say that's enough for today. Tomorrow we'll see about improving your flying, get you to moving faster, and work on your coordination. I'll work on an obstacle course for you to do so. In the meantime, stick to the notes I gave you. They might seem small, but they'll help you in the long run. Now, get home safe." The boy made his way home with a large smile on his face. After all, he had literally spent the day with a hero. "Oh man, today was awesome! I got to improve my quirk and spent the day with a real pro! Kachan would be so pissed!" And before he knew it, those 10 months had passed. Thanks to Fat Gum, Izuku's abilities were leagues above what they used to be. His body was more well-built and muscular, the speed of his transformations were almost instantaneous. He knew the physical limitations of his forms, and, most importantly, he learned how to use the abilities of some animals without transforming. For example, he was able to modify his DNA to access the panther's reflexes and stealthiness without transforming physically. It was the last day of training. The mentor and student had just finished training for the day, and Falcon had a surprise for his apprentice. I had a few good friends in the support business whip this up for you. The large hero handed Izuku a box, who after opening it was in shock. It was the costume he had designed.
Wait, is this really for me?
I'll admit, I'm not a big fan of the design, but as long as you like it, that's all that matters. Try it on. The teen went to get changed and stepped out of the changing room to reveal his new costume. It consisted of a black and purple one-piece jumpsuit, with purple shoes and a light gray utility belt, with gloves and arm and knee pads to match. The shifter looked at his mentor and began tearing up.
I don't know what to say. Thank you so much.
The boy hugged his teacher and received a hug in return.
Don't say anything. Just transform.
But it'll tear.
Trust me, it won't.
The hero winked. Doing what his sensei had told him, Midoriya transformed into his go-to animal, a tiger. But to his surprise, his costume didn't rip or fall off. It transformed with him, nowhere to be seen. Amazed at this, the boy transformed back.
But how?
I used your leftover fur and some of your shed skin from whenever you turned into a reptile. You gotta clean up after yourself. Got the idea from Sir Night-Eye's sidekick. Pretty cool, huh?
I love it!
Good. Then you can wear it in the UA entrance exam tomorrow.
You really think I'm ready?
Kiddo, I wouldn't have taken you on if I didn't. Now go home, get some rest, and you ace that exam, you hear me?
Falcon lifted up his fist and gestured for his pupil to do the same, so that he could give him a fist bump.
I'll do my best, Falcon-sensei!
As the hero in training ran off, his mentor whispered to himself.
I know you will, kid. I know.
Thank you, Outcasts and Rejects, for watching till the end of the video. If this video gets 80 likes in 2 weeks, we'll continue the series. Other than that, if you got any questions about the series or the channel, sound off in the comments or feel free to join our Discord. This has been Werewolf Sword, or Sword for short, signing out.